Well, hello and welcome to my latest video. We're outside. Yes, we're not in the garage, we're not in the house, we're outside. We're not on Box Hill, we're outside in the garden, and I thought what I ought to do after 7 or 8 or 9 months or whatever it is of having the bike, it's about time I did a bit of a review of the Fairlight Secan bike. So let's dive in and let me tell you what I think. Well, the first thing to say is it's a gravel bike. Yes, why is it a gravel bike? Well, it's a gravel bike because it's called a gravel bike. And it has, what's it made of? It's made of steel. I don't really know, it might be Columbus steel, it might be Reynolds steel. I probably ought to know that, but I'm afraid I don't. It's the Secan, S-E-C-A-N by Fairlight, and it Secan I think means seeker, or new seeker, or old seeker. Other seekers are available in the Saxon language. It has a Shimano Grx gravel group set, and let's focus in on that a little more closely, shall we? Now, it's the Shimano Grx 800 group set on a 1x system. So here you can see the single front chainring, and that's a 40 teeth chainring, and the cassette there at the back is an 11 to 42, so giving a highest gear of 40 by 11 and the lowest gear of 40 by 42. What are my thoughts about the 1x system? Well, I love it. You don't have the front derailleur by definition, which means you save a little bit of weight there. You don't have the problem of having to keep it clean. You don't have the issue of occasionally it going wrong mechanically. And you don't have the problem of trying to work out what to do with your left hand while riding the bike. Disadvantages? Well, first of all, the disadvantages are far outweighed by the advantages. The disadvantages I find is occasionally, particularly at the higher level gears, sometimes the gear is a bit high and sometimes it's a little bit low, so the gaps are a bit too wide. And occasionally, because 40 by 11 is your highest gear, you can spin out if you're going particularly fast on the flat or downhill. It doesn't often happen to a cyclist like me, but it does happen occasionally. Disc brakes, of course, with I believe a 160mm rotor at the rear and a 160mm rotor at the front as well. Flat mount Shimano 800 disc brakes. Do they work? They work brilliantly. Would I go back to rim brakes? Well, not by choice, no. I prefer disc brakes, and I know the Save the Rim Brake mob, like my friend Henry Wildberry, will be up in arms about it, but disc brakes, they just work. They're more effective, the stopping power is better, the modulation is better, they work better in the wet, they work better in bad weather. What's not to like? I can't understand this obsession with rim brakes. I say save the disc brake. That rather attractive orange hub there is from the Hope 25 wheel set, and I think the orange looks really nice. And there's an orange seat clamp as well, and a orange head tube clamp, which I'll show you. There's the orange seat post clamp by Hope. Again, just above that you can see a bracket for an exposure light. That obviously doesn't come with the bike. There you can see the orange head tube, or headset clamp rather, by Hope again, and you can see the lower one there as well. Looks very nice and complements this rather attractive dark blue of the frame. The handlebars are by FSA, as is the stem. The brass top cap, as you can see there, is extra. I think it's about 25 pounds, something like that. Brass top tube cap, but it looks rather nice, I think you'll agree. The Shimano Grx levers I find very comfortable. The reach is just right for my hand. The bite point when the brakes start to apply is adjustable, although I never had to change it on this particular bike. And I just think the handhold, the grips, whatever you want to call it, the hoods are just very comfortable. They just work. I like them. There you can see the Shimano Grx 800 series rear derailleur, and there is a clutch mechanism on that to stop the chain flapping about and denting your seat stay. Are they seat stays or are they chain stays? No, they're chain stays. I can never work out which one is which. The mud guards there, I fitted them myself. These are SKS Bloomels mud guards. They fit nicely, they're very effective. I think these are the 45mm mud guards. I think I'm using 40mm Pirelli, no sorry, I'm using 35mm Pirelli Cinturato gravel tyres, and I'm using them with tubes. You don't want to hear about my experiences of running tubeless tyres. I've made plenty of other videos about that. So far I've found this particular combination, the Pirelli Cinturato 35mm with tubes, perfect. Haven't had any punctures, they're smooth rolling, and they're really nice tyres. Now this seat post is not the original seat post from the bike, with the bike. This is a Canyon split seat post which I took off a Canyon bike that I had to add a bit of extra comfort, and I really do like this seat post. On the seat post is a Gilles Berthoud Soulor saddle, and I have done a separate video with an unboxing and a review of this saddle. I really like it. So the combination of the saddle and the split seat post and the steel frame makes for an exceedingly comfortable bicycle. So my overall impressions of the bike are, I love it. It's really comfortable, it's really smooth. And the weight, well, the weight is quite heavy. It's a bit over 20 pounds. And when I had 40mm big tyres on and pumps and God knows what else, it weighed about 25 pounds. But I don't think the weight of a bike really matters. You notice it when you then get on a lighter bike. But when you're riding a heavy bike, you don't particularly notice it. It might be a little bit slow on the hills, but that doesn't really bother me. Things I don't like about the bike, well, there's probably only two things that I'm not that keen on. One is occasionally, as I say, you might spin out on the gears, or occasionally you might wish you had a gear that was slightly lower, slightly higher, but that's a minor inconvenience. The only other thing is they are through axles, not a problem there, but you need an Allen key to unscrew the axle, and so if you're out on the road and you do get a puncture, you have to make sure you've got a 6mm Allen key that allows you to remove the axle. If you forget your multi-tool and you have a puncture when you're out on the road, well, you're kind of stuffed. I don't really see why they couldn't have a through axle with a kind of little handle on the end. Some of the other manufacturers do that. It seems to me that would be a much better system rather than you having to rely, particularly when you're my age, memory starts to go a bit. You don't want to go out on the road and suddenly realise, oh shit, I forgot my multi-tool at home, which hasn't happened to me yet, but you know, as the years creep up on me inexorably as they will, I dare say it'll happen to me. So then you want to know, well, okay, it's a gravel bike, Julian, and knowing your well-known antipathy and all the comments that you've made about gravel bikes, A, why have you got a gravel bike, and B, having got one, do you ride it on the gravel? Well, the answer to that is I bought a gravel bike because I wanted it, and I love this particular bike. Do I ride it on the gravel? Well, no, not really, partly because there isn't any gravel in southern England. I know there's lots of gravel in New Zealand, I know there's lots of gravel in Romania, I know there's lots of gravel in Canada, but I'm not in those places, guys. Here it's bridleways, which at this time of year are just covered in mud and horses and dogs and grandparents and maiden aunts, people like that, people who are best avoided, whether it's lockdown or not, or else you're riding on normal roads. And normal roads here in Kent, they are pretty gravelly anyway, let me tell you. And this bike, frankly, is perfect for any road surfaces. So I like the idea that if I come across a patch of gravel, should that ever happen, then I can just turn off the road and this bike will take me on it quite nicely. Thank you very much. So I like the opportunity of being able to do that, even if I don't actually do it very much. Now I've got other bikes. I've got quite a few other bikes, but I've found, and you may find this with your favorite bike, this is my go-to bike. If I'm thinking of going out for a ride, I go into the garage, and the bike I invariably come out with is this one. It's the one that I don't think about taking out on the road anymore. If I'm going to use one of my other bikes, then I go into the garage and I think, shall I ride that one today? Shall I ride that? Oh, that one hasn't had a lot of use. Perhaps I should ride that. Perhaps that one's starting to feel a bit lonely. Perhaps, you need to get the bike out and give it a run out, etc., etc. But with the Fairlight Secan, I just go in, I take it down off the rack or leaning against the wall, wherever it is. I put my shoes on, put my helmet on, put the rest of my clothes on, obviously. I get out on the bike and I go for a ride. And that, to me, is the definition of a perfect bike. It fits me perfectly. It is really comfortable. It's really smooth to ride. I just like it. It's a great bike. Cost me about £2,500 with the Grx 800 1x series. They are in fairly short supply, like most bikes are in fairly short supply. But if you're looking for a gravel bike, if you're looking for a versatile, comfortable road come gravel, come off-road, come commuting, plus whatever you want to call it, bike, then the Fairlight Secan, yes, it's more expensive than some other bikes, perhaps of a comparable spec, but it's also cheaper than some other bikes of a comparable spec. So if you're in the market for a great bike, then the Fairlight Secan comes highly recommended. So hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you like watching my videos, you can subscribe. If you don't like watching them, you can subscribe anyway, and then you'll get a notification. You get a bang on the head or a knock on the door or something, and somebody will say to you, did you know Julian's uploaded another video? So time to get onto your computer or your TV or wherever it is, your phone, and watch it. Also, you need to remember, my videos raise money for the Vine Food Bank, which is in Croydon in the United Kingdom. So a good cause, I think you'll agree. So looking forward to a great 2021. Hope you have a great 2021. Hope to upload lots more videos, give you lots more things to chew over, and see you next time.